So here's an interesting thought for you. Um, Everybody learns. Everyone is able to go from a state of not knowing something to knowing something. We all learn something. We learn from the moment we're born. We start gathering information. We learn how to say mom. We learn how to use the toilet. We learn how to say dada. We learn how to brush our teeth. At some point, we learn to walk. We learn a lot of things. Yeah, the list can go on and on. The bottom line is we learn a lot of things. There is so much that we know. Everything you know how to do now, you know how to say, everything you know how to say with your mouth, everything you know, you've come to learn over time. None of it comes from instinct. Okay, maybe some things are instinct, but most things we learn. An interesting thing, we learn most from the people that are closest to us, but that's a topic for another day. The bottom line is we are all able to learn. I mean, if you're watching this, you did learn how to play this video, and perhaps you taught yourself how to do it, or perhaps someone taught you how to do it, but you now know it because you had to go through the process of learning it. So then here's the problem, or the question, or the difficulty, and it's that we are all judged based on a particular schooling system. And the way the system is set up is that you have one teacher for one subject, or any particular subject that could be, and they have a certain style of teaching, and that one person with that one style of teaching is supposed to convey their message and transfer their knowledge to a whole bunch of people. So in the general sense, this bunch of people can be people from different backgrounds, different upbringings, different neighborhoods, and different speeds of knowledge, which means that they are likely to understand things from a different perspective, from a different style of teaching, from different styles of teaching. So now what we have is a situation in which we have a bunch of people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different many things, being taught by one person who comes from one culture, one background, one certain style of teaching, and all those people are supposed to understand the way that this person teaches. And of course, the whole class and the whole country learning from a syllabus that was dictated by a small group of people, which probably was an ultimate decision by one person or whatever, but by a small group of people who decided that this is the general level at which people should learn. This is the general method of learning for our country. So essentially what we have is one method that a whole country is supposed to develop from. If it's physics, there are certain guidelines that you should follow to become a physics major, or physics professor, or a physicist, and it's just one method. So anyway, what am I saying? What's the point of all this? I'm just concerned by how much we're quick to judge people based on their performance at school. Because I mean, yeah, perhaps you're not really smart at school, and that's fair. Not everyone can be the same at stuff. Like I was saying before, stressing the issue of there being one method, one person, one whatever. You may not be smart at school, but you may be good at something else. After all, it is said that you shouldn't judge a monkey on its ability to swim, nor should you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree. But if you start using logic, you'll come to find that that is in fact the exact thing that we do in society. There is the school thing that every single person in the population, because we do want everyone to get educated, so it means that we are deciding this for every single person in the population. Everyone in the country has to be judged by their ability to climb a tree, for instance. And it doesn't matter whether you're a monkey, it doesn't matter whether you're a fish, it doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a jaguar or a cat, or I don't know, a baby, but you all have to be judged on your ability to climb a tree. And hey, there are some trees that lions can climb and some that lions just can't climb. And I'd like to think that I'm a smart guy, but I know for one thing that I hate reading. I just don't like reading. If you're gonna teach me something, let's try and find another way to do it. But reading, it's not really my thing. But I force myself to do it sometimes because I want to get more knowledge. But yeah, the reading part, That being said, however, I do know people that you probably wouldn't regard to be as smart as I am, or even smart at all, but they perhaps are comfortable with reading, they perhaps like reading, and maybe if they're given the right content to read, maybe if they're given different content to read than the stuff we read in school, then perhaps they could realize what their thing is. If they're fish, they realize, oh, water is my thing. If they're I don't know, an ant, they realize picking heavy stuff up is my thing, I don't know, whatever. But the point still remains. What I'm saying is that actually this is my opinion, that perhaps if we were to show people more of what's out there, more of the possibilities that exist, perhaps the world would be just a little bit of a better place. Perhaps we need a certain a new system that allows for creativity to build, allows for people to be a bit more free in their imagination, and to allow them to experiment and play around with the possibilities, with physics, with nature, with numbers, with anything that interests them, with whatever creativity, whatever creative stuff they can think of. I mean, maybe the challenge was making us believe that the only way to get to success is through school, and that school is education in its entirety, and perhaps we did need someone to actually show us the difference between school and education as a whole. Because I just feel like if we want to have a diverse and innovative and creative society, then we probably shouldn't be streamlining everyone into one particular direction. We probably should be exposing people to what's happening in the world, what's happening in the rest of the country, what's happening, maybe not in space, but what's happening around us, what exists, what is there. Help us ask those questions as kids, as we grow. Help the kids learn to ask certain questions and find their interests, find their passions. I just personally don't think that it produces a great future for us to have certain molds, certain forms that are created to shape the future of the whole country, basically, because everyone that goes through school is someone who is going to build the country in future, and all of them are going through a person or certain people that are using the certain method. I mean, yes, all teachers are different and they all have different methods, and some produce bright students and some schools produce very great results. But I'm just worried about the general amount of creativity that is allowed to flourish. I mean, times have changed quite a lot, and the education system hasn't seen much change. And it's starting to make me wonder if it's going to be relevant in at a certain point in future, if it's going to still make sense that we learn stuff the way that we learn now, if we still learn the same things that we learn now. There's a lot that I've learned by myself through experience after I've been in varsity, and don't take this wrong. I've learned a lot in varsity. I mean, engineering is quite a huge fish to swallow, and I learned that, and still I feel like the stuff that I'm learning now after having done all that is quite a lot, and it's quite broad, and it allows my imagination, it allows my creativity to grow, to flourish, and for me to become a better person and become a different addition to the whole contribution of society. I'm not saying I have this whole thing figured out. I don't think I have even half of it figured out. There's a vast amount of knowledge out there. I'd like to believe that I know about 1%, But the best thing or the most important thing that I know is that I want to know more, and I still live every day to learn. And it's very important that I actually know that what you know, dog, is like 1% of everything that is to know out there, perhaps even less. But I want to know more. By the time I die, I want to have gathered as much information as possible, and I want to have used it, and I want to have transferred it and shared it to many, many people out there, because I feel like a lot of us have it within us, but it's locked in just because we don't know what we don't know. So we're not looking for something you don't know because you don't know that you should look. You don't know. And the more information we give ourselves, the more information we give each other, probably the better. And yes, I said probably. And the reason I use the word probably is because I want to be challenged. If you're watching this, I want you to start thinking and start telling me why I'm wrong. But not only do I want you to tell me why I'm wrong, I'd like you to tell me what you think is right. Tell me your solution. Tell me what you think is happening. Tell me what do you think should happen, and let this be a discussion. Let this grow. Let's find solutions that are going to help society in the greater scheme of things, that's going to help society in future. Because yes, we're living right now, but we're really living for the future. And the more we bring sustainable solutions into existence, the better our lives, our future, and the future of our kids, our grandchildren, and their children, and so on becomes. So yes, argue, give me valid points. Come, tell me where I'm wrong, and tell me what you think is right, and maybe the next person is gonna tell you what you're wrong with, and so on and so on. But let this be a discussion. Phew. Thank you for watching up to this far. If you watched up to this far, I mean, I guess maybe you did like what I was talking about. Perhaps you should hit that subscribe button so that you can get more content like this and see more of the videos that I've posted in the past and those that I'm still going to post in the future. And join in the conversation, man. Join in, tell me your thoughts. Let's think together. Let's progress together, and let's wait for the next idea or next topic that I want to talk about.